Once again, nice to see everybody again today. My name is Joseph Kamaru. Kamaru, a field and sound artist. I'm based in Nairobi, Kenya at the moment, and this is where I'm listening to. And yeah, I'm looking forward to take over this session with Sven also today, and looking forward to hear your opinions and your thoughts and insights on the tracks we're going to listen today.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. My name is Sven Kacirek. I was born and raised in Germany, and I'm still based in Hamburg, Germany. I've been traveling to East Africa since 2008, quite regularly, working together with Olithra Tego from Ugunja, Goyanengo from Siaya, or Tabo Susa from Nairobi. And again, I'm very happy to be here, and I'm excited, and I'm very curious to listen to your thoughts about the tracks that Joseph and I have selected over the last couple of days.
So, hi everyone. I'm Natalie Feldman. I'm part of the music division at Goethe-Institut in Munich. And together with Jörg Süßenbach, we developed those listening sessions. So, yeah, that's about me.
Cool. So I'm not so sure if you've received the link with the tracks, but on the chat you can find like a Google Drive link which has the 5 tracks in it, and so it's just basically click on the first track, and there's like approximately 3 minutes or 2 to 3 minutes length of the track. Then after listening to the track, you can click at the top left and go back to the folder. Then we have like a discussion about the track, then the second and the third, and hopefully the fourth. Yeah. And also while listening, we recommend maybe you can listen through headphones. If you're listening through speakers or monitors, you can switch off your microphone. Yeah. And also maybe we can have a short introduction by the active participants. Yeah. Just okay. Your name and where you're listening from.
Okay. My name is Sabine Vogel, and I'm based in Potsdam, close to Berlin, but right now I'm close to Munich in Bavaria, visiting my parents. And I'm a flute player, sound artist, and I'm very curious to this listening session now. Yep.
Shall I?
Yeah, sure.
I'm Ute Wassermann. I'm based in Berlin. I'm a vocalist, composer, performer. And I work also together with Sabine. We work with Bolivian composer, Carlos Gutierrez. And I have ties to Mexico. I try to go to Mexico as often as I can. So I'm really interested in this format.
Yeah, maybe I could go next. My name is Marco Reisabin, and I'm based in Berlin. So I'm calling in from Berlin as well. I'm a singer, songwriter, musician, performer. And yeah, I've been having a lot of interest in post-colonial theories already for a while. So always, without really being into the theory, but I'm always interested in looking at the structures and questioning the structures also in the music industry. So very looking forward.
Great, thank you. So then I think we can directly dive into the first track, right? Because I think probably some of you already joined us yesterday. So, and yesterday we spoke a lot about youth culture and pop music culture, and if the global north is lagging behind. So probably those kind of topics might pop up again, but probably we're going to speak about completely different issues. So I think let's just start and then just see what's happening. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So we listen to the first track now.
Exactly. We are only listening to the first track, and probably you could give us a sign once you finish listening to the first track, because I think we will all start at a different time. Okay. So all those tracks are between 2 and 3 minutes long, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So
okay.
Enjoy the first track.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's a secret path to love, but I can't find it all alone. Darling, walk with me, and talk with me as I go searching on. There's a love light in your eyes, and there's moonlight up above. It's a perfect night to start our flight down the secret path of love. And while we make this sentimental journey hand in hand together, our hearts inside just might decide to keep us this way forever. We can both find happiness, though it's hard to find, I know. But there's a secret path to love, and it's the surest way to go.
Okay. Did you finish listening to this track? We're still listening? Yeah? You finished? Okay. Joseph, do you want to start?
Okay, I'm done too.
Can't hear you.
Yeah, for sure. I think you can hear me now. Yeah. So the track is, I don't know, maybe common to like most of you, or maybe you can recall or more nostalgic about like the genre of music or like even the artist. The artist is Roy Hamilton, and we selected this track with Sven because the similarities between Roy and Elvis Presley, and also like earlier today I was reading that like most of like Elvis like tracks music sound like a black person, and Roy was a black man who like sounded like a white person, which was also like interesting. And the fact that they both like share the same spiritual like rhythmic like vocal description while they're singing, yeah, and also like try to depict who came first. Like Roy was the first before Elvis, but like also the fact that Elvis became more famous from Roy's beneficial of like his singing style, and also the fact that they share like so much interest together. Yeah, maybe Sven can add more about this track.
Yeah, I think some of you might know the story about this, because in the 1950s in the US, there was this very influential record label called Sun Records. And the owner of Sun Records, Sam Phillips, he was saying in the beginning that he was saying, I just need a white man who sounds like a black man, and then I can make $1 million, right? Because black musicians didn't have the same access to market in terms of radio shows and TV shows and venues, etc. So then he released the first records with Elvis, and then also with Jerry Lee Lewis and Carl Perkins, later on Johnny Cash. So I think at the end he made much more than $1 million. But that's not the point here. I think it's, some people are saying that Elvis, he was just a robber, right? And then some people are saying Elvis was a thief, but he was an innocent thief. And then some other people are saying that artists like Fats Domino or Little Richard and Chuck Berry, they also benefited a lot from Elvis. Because of Elvis' popularity, there was a growing young white interest in black music, right? So there are different aspects here. And in this context, it's also interesting that Branford Marsalis, for instance, he was saying all great music is thievery. And Yo-Yo Ma was saying a good musician is always a good thief. Right? So, and I can accept that, but I think the problem here is that people, depending on their cultural background and also depending on the color of their skin, still have a different access to this kind of thievery. Even though today we have incredibly successful black artists like Beyonce and Solange and Kendrick Lamar, etc. But I think still there is some artists from the global north have still a different access to this kind of theory compared to artists from the global south. So, and I would be curious to hear what you think about that. Do you agree or do you disagree?
If I can just go ahead, I think I would definitely agree on that. Where I'm navigating mostly in the reggae scene and Caribbean music. And it's very interesting to look at the way that dancehall, which is a Caribbean-inspired music and away from African diaspora in a way, is taking over also the mainstream. And you have the same situation there, in which Justin Bieber dropped this song called "Sorry," which is clearly a dancehall song. And all of a sudden, dancehall was popular again, and now everybody's using the rhythm. So there's definitely a disparity there, and it's still prevailing in different genres. I think I would definitely agree, Sven.
Any comments from your side?
Yeah,
Sabine, Ute, or yeah?
I also totally agree. I mean, there's also this example of Sixto Rodriguez, the Mexican origin American guy. You probably know him. There's this film, Searching for Sugar Man. And he got out, he was compared to Bob Dylan, for example. And he got out an album which kind of disappeared in the US, but he became this big star in South Africa. And actually he was like, like Mick Jagger star, and he sold lots of records, but he never got the royalties. It kind of also was floated. Somebody made a lot of money in the US from his music. So there are also these issues, and he was a Mexican origin. And if you just compare this to, he never got paid for his work, for example. He's an amazing singer-songwriter. This is a really interesting film, Searching for Sugar Man. So that's also an example how, he has been taken advantage of by the industry,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think this question about who benefits from whom is in some way is a tricky question, because the system in which we are moving also in the music industry is so much built on or still carries so much this legacy of colonialism and white supremacy in a way that it's very hard. I find it very hard to say that Black artists or people of color are really benefiting from it. Like, for example, now Fats Domino and Little Richard benefiting from Elvis. Of course, yeah, it's a tricky question. I don't really have a standpoint there, because yeah, where's really the benefit? Because clearly Elvis made way more money than these other artists, and clearly Justin Bieber is making way more money than people who originated this Caribbean music. But then again, in the structure we're in right now, these Justin Biebers or Elvises are needed still some way to give these people a platform. So I think it's a different question in a way.
But isn't it this exactly this we should change, that these people are needed? I mean, you know,
yes.
like people, they have their own. I mean, they don't need white people to.
No.
I mean, it shouldn't be like this. So that's the big problem here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but still, do you think that Elvis should have engaged in a different way to support people like Hamilton? Or because there's another example, Frank Sinatra is a very good example. Because Frank Sinatra, of course, he worked closely together with Count Basie and also with other Black musicians. And I think Sinatra, he was a key figure when it came to desegregation, especially in Las Vegas, because he told the venues and also the hotel industry, he told them, hey guys, when my musicians can't stay in the same hotel where I'm staying, then I will never perform here again, right? And then they started changing the policy. So I think then later on, Sinatra, he supported Ronald Reagan. I think that's a completely different story here. But I think Sinatra, he was much more involved in this political issue compared to Elvis. Do you think that's a good thing, or do you think it's a bad thing, or what are your thoughts about this?
I think it's a good thing to be involved because it is political. You know, you can work very naively as a musician and say, okay, we share everything. You get this from me, I get this from you. But in the end, I make a lot of money from you. So I think it's actually important to take that responsibility and engage politically to get the structure changed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
As a white person, because you benefit from the whole infrastructure of the industry, of the system, plus, artistically you benefit. The other person might also benefit, but not get paid. So I think you have a responsibility to try to change it as much as you can by engaging politically.
I definitely agree. I also find it absolutely mandatory to understand your role in this game and act accordingly, so that there's I feel there's no other way than to be political in a way, because we're moving in a political space. So Elvis should have done that as well.
Yes.
I agree.
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah, I think we can go to the next.
I think that leads directly to the second track. Yeah. Are you ready to listen to track number 2? And I think probably you need to switch off the microphone while you're listening, because while we're listening to the first track, I think we could hear some of you listening to the track, and it wasn't not bad at all, but I think it would be easier for us to listen to it very clearly.
Okay.
Okay, enjoy track number 2.
Sango Vitandi. Pokatikolo movimentos. Manavayaki Samakapoto. Bonjila Naikwamiwa.
Okay. Did you finish listening to this track? Yeah. So what are your thoughts? What do you think? Where's this track from? Or who could be the producer? Or what's the background of this track? Do you have any ideas?
No, I don't know where it comes from. I mean, it sounds. I mean, they're very trancey and African beats, I would say. But where it really, like the producer, I don't know.
But do you think it's a producer from the African continent or a producer from Asia or
no, I don't. I would think it's more Western or like North global North, like somebody from America or from the north half of the planet, I would say. But using a lot of beats and stuff from the other half or from the south. But my guessing, I don't know.
Any other thoughts, opinion, ideas?
I can imagine that it's an African producer, but I'm also just guessing.
Why do you think it could be an African producer?
Just from tracks I've heard which have been produced in Africa, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure. I'm also just guessing.
Interesting.
Yeah. For me, it reminded me of like the Bahia funk music from Brazil. I think I also heard some Portuguese language or Brazilian Portuguese. And in a way, it sounds so futuristic in a way. I don't know, it kind of reminded me of a blend with like UK club sounds that I feel that it might be someone from the diaspora rather than someone on the continent still. Yeah, not saying that obviously the continent is very progressive as well, but just the blend of cultures there. That's the vibe I get off it. I don't know if that's true.
So lift the secret.
Joseph, do you want to lift the secret?
Yeah, I think everyone had like a really good idea of where the track could be like from. The producer is Manchester-based, but Angolan, from Angolan culture, and he's called Nazar. And the track was released on a UK record label called Hyperdub. And this track, the whole album is called Guerrilla, and happened like it was released last year, but like the whole story and the whole compositional process of Nazar was based on like the civil war that was happening in Angola in the 2000s, in the early 2000s, and Nazar had to like flee from Angola and to Belgium. Okay, he was born in Belgium, and like due to like the separation of the whole family, the mom and the dad, and the fact that the dad was also like a rebel general during this whole civil war, made them to like split. And during his teens, when he was returning back to Angola, that's when he was seeing what was happening, and he decided to put this like as episodes of what he was seeing like after the post-war. And like I don't know if you had like at the beginning of the track, there's like a gun foley cock sound, and there's also like a narration of like the father. And the whole album was like inspired by a journal his dad used to like keep about like the whole war. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And maybe
so I have a quick question.
Sorry, maybe I can add. The style of music is called kuduro, like the rhythm and the drums. And the music was basically sort of after the war, these were the music the guys were singing for like relief. And this is the same thing that happened in Nigeria in the 60s and 70s, how like rock emerged from like the shadows of civil war, and this whole context. And I think it applies to a lot of traditional African communities, also like here locally in Kenya, where in the past there was like in Kenya there was Mau Mau, and there were like songs like folk songs for Mau Mau, and this is like post-war songs. And I can relate that like to Nazar, and also like the fact that Nigeria like post-rock music came from like the civil war. Yeah.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah, Marco, you had a question?
Yeah. Did I get it right? Nazar is the singer on the track, or is he the producer?
He's the producer.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the vocals are
the
samples.
vocals are not from his dad.
Yeah,
His dad kept like a journal of like the war and everything.
Right.
But if you listen to the whole album, we'll share like the links and the track list after. You can hear like the episodes of everything. Yeah,
that's great. And then this music, sorry, I forgot the name. What is Kuduro? Is this also being listened to in Angola, or is it more like a diaspora thing?
No, it's like a very local music from Angola. Yeah, super famous and super fast. Yeah, it's a music and dance sort of style of music.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think what's also interesting about this track because is the meaning of authenticity today. Because while Joseph and I were selecting those different tracks, we were speaking a lot about authenticity in a digitally connected world. And what does it mean today? Does it mean that when you're from Bavaria, you need to pick up a brass instrument? Or does it mean when you're from Angola, you need to play kuduro music all the time? So what does that mean? So, and we both agreed that authenticity today is primarily linked to your own experiences, to your own biography. And that's why I think Nazar is a very good example here, because this record is very much linked to his biography and also to his background. And also he's using this production and this music to reconnect with his past and also to connect with his dad and to listen to the experiences of his dad. And I think that's why this is a very, very good example to define authenticity in a globally connected or digitally connected world today. Right.
I'm not sure whether I fully agree to that definition of authenticity, because you have other cases. For example, you have sometimes that definition of authenticity upholds a certain structural racism in a way, because if you look at, for example, you have a lot of German or white reggae artists, for example. You have Gentleman. Their story is, or let's talk about his story. I mean, he's a colleague of mine. I respect him a lot. But his story is that he went to Jamaica, started listening to reggae music, which is Black liberation music, and went to Jamaica when he was 17, and then started picking up the language, the patois, and now he's very, very successful. And so I'm sure he's giving back to the communities as well. But in a way, I find it kind of problematic as well, because the line between cultural appropriation and cultural appreciation is very blurred here in these cases.
Yeah.
So, and I find that's why I find this discussion about authenticity very interesting, because I have a similar struggle in a way, because I also went to Jamaica and I also wrote songs in patois and did that. But at some point, I didn't find it authentic anymore for myself, because that's not the language that I grew up with. But while I was writing these songs, I found it so authentic for me to write in that language. So it's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah, I think that's a very important point here. And also, Gentleman is a very good example. But I think that's, if you compare like Nazar and Gentleman, for instance, I think that's a difference that I just wanted to bring up, that Nazar is connecting to his own biography by following this path and by creating this type of music. It's not coming from a place of exoticism or something.
Yes.
Right. So, and I think that's the difference here. And also, I mean, I completely respect artists like Gentleman, but I think, I completely agree with you. You always have to be very careful and very sensitive, and it's always a very fine line. We spoke about this yesterday. Fine line between like inspiration on one side and also exploitation and also exoticism, all at the same time, and that makes it very complex and very difficult, right? So I completely agree. I think Ute, you just wanted to say something, right?
No, I'm just nodding, because
I want to say something because you mentioned.
Just maybe one thing, because I'm not in the pop world, but you know, I do a lot of research with my voice, and I listen from age 15. You know, I was listening to Rai, Algerian music, and to all kinds of, you know, I got very inspired. But I think I totally agree with this connecting to your own biography. I think that's a very strong point, that you are not doing it because it's cool or because it's, you know, the hot shit at the moment, but that you find a deep connection with your biography. I mean, you know, and a theme for yourself, which is truly important. I think that's a very good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to say something because when you said something about growing up in Bavaria, are you supposed to play a brass instrument? So I grew up in Bavaria, and the reason why I learned the flute was because my recorder teacher needed for the brass band flute players. So I learned the flute, which I liked, but then there was the point being part of the brass band. And I refused because I found this music horrible, and I was really like, and it was already this, not really folk music anymore, or that's what I thought back then. It was like this volkstümliche Musik. I don't know how you translate this in English. But for me, it was really like this kind of marching music, and it was terrifying for me, actually. So I didn't want to be part of this. And but later then I noticed, or like I was also questioning, because there's a lot of really beautiful folk music in Bavaria. You know, they have this different singing, and I experienced like kind of chamber music. You know, it's totally different than this popular Bavarian rumpapa music. And very often I think, because I'm also interested in music from different continents and countries, and then I question myself why I should do maybe even more research about the music where I grew up. This was very wrong English, sorry. But it's interesting, why very often we look, or we white people, I don't know, we look in other countries and want to get inspiration from there. And I mean, I do the same, but looking at my own country, there is a lot of things to explore, I think, if you really dig into it and if you have a look.
Yeah.
But they made the music that came, it was really like, for me, I remember there was a competition of brass bands in my village, and I was just like holding a cushion above my ears. It was just terrifying for me, what I felt in this music somehow.
Yeah, that's interesting. Marco?
Sorry, did you want to go to the next?
No, go ahead.
No, I just find it interesting because this brass band, this Bavarian brass band situation, I think it's very hard nowadays to just stick to one thing in general, because we have access to so much music. It's all at the tip of our hands, and we get inspired very easily by this music. So it's the same thing. Then again, it's a thin line, like between inspiration and having all this global input. You know, I can listen to music from all corners of the world. I just have to type it into YouTube, and I can get inspired by it. But yeah, what does authenticity mean then? It's like, I don't have the answer. I just find it interesting.
I think this discussion now leads directly to the third track, but the point is we don't have enough time to listen to it. That's Joseph. Okay. I would suggest that we probably we speak about it a little bit, about track number 3, and then after the session you can take your time to listen to it carefully. Will that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Sure.
But I think Natalie has something to say.
Yeah. I think we can stay like 5 minutes longer. I don't know if that maybe helps to have like a quick.
Okay. Because it's already 27. But should we do that? That we listen to?
Maybe 1 minute.
1 minute.
Well, that's a good idea. I think that's a good idea. Let's listen to
get an impression
for 1 minute, and then I think we can speak about it. Okay. Enjoy. Okay, should we get back to the discussion?
Yeah.
So, what do you think when you listen to this music? Where was it from? Just guess.
Okay, here we go. I had that. My association is salsa, and a very vintage sounding. Even though I think nowadays people try to make it sound vintage, so possibly it's also new. I don't know. Spanish music. I don't know, Mexico, something like that.
Cuba, maybe.
Cuba.
Yeah, maybe Cuba.
I would completely agree. When I listened to this track, I thought, "Oh, this is Cuban music," but it's not. Joseph, do you want to continue here?
Okay, the music is from Senegal actually, and yeah, because Senegal had like this. It's from a band called Afro-Cuba de Senegal from like Ostinato like records, and I think it was one of the first pioneering bands in Senegal after independence, and it has like a huge influence on the later Senegalese bands, and the Cuba like relation is, I think, during the time Cuba and Cuba music has like influences from Africa and like vice versa, and that's why I think you can like depict like the music is from Cuba. Yeah.
And also what I found very interesting is that there was a very strong connection during the time, like late 50s and early 60s, because the Cuban Revolution under Castro, they succeeded in 1959. And Senegal gained independence in 1960. So there was a similar also experience, like fighting against suppression. So Castro was fighting against Batista, and Senegalese people were fighting against the French colonizers, and they both succeeded. And then there was probably similar hope, like a similar vision, and similar aims. And I think that's why Cuban music was so popular in Senegal. And I think this leads back to the question that we have discussed earlier, that is this authentic or not? Is this thievery or not? And I think as long as there's a strong connection, even though there are like more than 4,000 miles in between those two countries and lots of water, and there's there is still this connection because of values and because of history and because of a similar vision. And I think this automatically leads to a similar expression when it comes to music or when it comes to culture in general. So, and to me, this was really interesting to read about that, because I didn't know anything about that. Right? So, and also you could say, okay, it's theory, because they're just playing pure music. It's not their music, right? So where does it start? Where does it stop? So I don't know what do you think about that?
I also really don't know where it starts and it stops, to be honest. Because if we speak about this, and I don't know where to draw the line, to be honest, like, because I guess in a way Cuba and Senegal share a history of oppression in a way, of different ways, or suffering in a way, that I think if there's a common ground on certain topics just like that, from an outside perspective, it seems like a very fruitful hybrid or fruitful inspiration. So yeah, that might be a factor.
Yeah, and also it's another topic, so probably we can share a link with all of you, because this record was released on Ostinato Records, and yesterday we already spoke about those. Right now there are a lot of European labels, also labels in the US, who are very much focused on reissues from Africa. So at the end they're making money. So that's a business model. At the same time, that's a structure we all rely on, right? So I uploaded those tracks in my Google Cloud, for instance. So yesterday we spoke about Joseph, who's archiving the music of his granddad, and he's using Bandcamp as a platform, like a Western-driven platform. Of course, Bandcamp in this case is making money from Joseph archiving the music of his granddad. So there's still also another issue that is directly linked to those kind of releases, and we don't have enough time to discuss that, but probably we can share some links with you, and then
that'd be great.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
Could maybe one of you guys please share the track list in the chat so people can look at it?
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, there are also 2 more tracks, and Joseph, can you copy and paste there, because I did.
Yeah.
Let me do that in a minute.
And what was the name of the first album? Internet.
I don't know the name of the record. I mean, the artist is Roy Hamilton, the first track.
No, I mean the second, sorry, the Nazar.
Nazar. The track is called Diverted. I think we're also sharing the links.
Okay.
You can listen to all those tracks on Bandcamp or on YouTube. So I think I have it here. We can give you.
Yeah.
Give me some.
Shared a link, a drive link with the track list.
Okay. Okay, great. Okay, perfect. Okay. I think then you have all the information you need to investigate even more.
Thank you.
Okay. But thank you so much for your time.
Thanks so much.
It's really interesting.
Thank you so much.
Very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really great. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, really inspiring.
Hope this happens again sometime.
Yes.
Cool. And enjoy the festival, and wish you a wonderful day.
Yes, you too.
Thank
you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye.